Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another Bulletmarv review. I know this one's a bit early, but with me working now, I have to try getting these videos out whenever I can and making them whenever I can. Since I got a day off, I'm going to get it done today. So, game that I'm going to review today, if you watch my Piggers video, you know what it is for. And today I'm going to be reviewing Vurtua Fighter on the Sega Saturn. This is my copy right here. And if you watch my video, you know all about it. But let's talk about the game. Vurtua Fighter is a 3D fighting game and my version's on Sega Saturn. It was released for the Sega Saturn on July the 8th, 1995, but it was originally released in arcades in December 1993 internationally. The main big difference to not traditional fighting games at the time, which were Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Eternal Champions, various games like that, this was full 3D, so it blew you away with the fact that it was 3D, even though now you look at it and the graphics are very much dated. As for your characters, that's what a fighting game is all about. The characters which you get in the game are reasonably varied in attacks and everything. The way that you do attacks is sort of more of a Tekken sort of way, where it's all combos and pressing certain buttons on your controller and everything like that. Even though it's got a very unique layout compared to other fighting games at the time, like most fighting games at the time had high punch, low punch. Well, had, you know, 3 different types of kick, 3 different types of punch, and that was it. This just has 3 button control, which is block, kick, and punch. And obviously you press up, and that makes you jump. And that was very different at one time. But the characters all look different and all have different moves. And so you've got like your characters in this are Akira Yuki, Pai Chan, Lao Chan, Wolf Hawkfield, Jeffrey McWild, Cage Maru, Sarah Bryant, and Jack Bryant. There is obviously in traditional fighting game fashion, there is an hidden boss, which happens to be the hardest character on it, and that is Jor-El, who is like a robot, sentient cyborg sort of thing. He's a tough boss to be honest. He's typical, overpower every moves in the game. So that's him. The game was developed by AM2 Studios, which is part of Sega's arcade department, and the head developer on that was Yu Suzuki. You might know him from various games like Super Hang-On and, you know, well, Super Hang-On, Afterburner, other games like that, but also for his big name game, which was Shenmue. But Yu Suzuki has a lot of experience within the arcade games, so this was great in the arcade, and the console ports varied depending on what system you can get. It got released on the Mega Drive, the 32X, and then on the Saturn. And it's been on other stuff as well, like I think it's on Xbox Live Arcade now and PlayStation Network. And also there's a remix edition with Virtua Fighter 5, I believe. But yeah, let's talk about gameplay on this. Gameplay, as says, three buttons to use: punch, kick, and block. Not much there. As for your move list, if I get the manual out, you will get a good idea on how the moves work from that. If I get one out, you will see the move lists there. And how you will do them. This is obviously for Jackie or Jack, and it's all button combinations in the same vein as Mortal Kombat, but I would consider it more like Tekken in that respects. Gameplay, while not the fastest game ever, it's very clunky. If you plan it out, it is really clunky to use, and the physics in the game are just horrendous. When you jump, it's like it turns into moon physics. You just float in the air, so it makes jumping not the best strategy in the world. The best way to play the game is obviously to attack, block, and just to practically attack and defend, Don't keep using jumping attacks because you'll miss half the time. or pretty much most of the time. Characters are all done in polygons, so 3D as said, and the way that you win a match is either by defeating an opponent 2 times, by fighting, or by ring out. So it does have the ring out aspect, same as Soul Blade, and I believe Dead or Alive as well. So, Virtua Fighter, is it a good game? Is it worth playing on? Right, good points. First 3D fighting game of its time, so it's very nostalgic for that aspect alone. The fact that whenever you first played this back in the 90s, you were blown away by it. Secondly, the characters being 3D as well just blew you away. The 3D is the main selling point for this game, to be honest. And for me, it was like the first fighting game that I saw from Sega as well, so I was pretty blown away by that when I first saw this. When I first played this game, it was on the Mega Drive. So, and the versus mode, if you can get a friend who will play it with you, it will last you ages and ages and ages. As for the bad points in the game, though, it just hasn't aged well. You can upgrade the signal a little bit from it by going through RGB SCART and then converting RGB SCART into HDMI, but it just looks terrible because of the aspect ratio. And since I'm running it on PAL, I'm only getting 50Hz signal, not 60Hz. So in American territories, it would be a bit faster due to that. And as I said, the main problem I find actually is controls. The controls, even though are simple, there's such a delay in what you press and what actually comes out. There's about maybe a second or 2 delay between your input and then the computer registering it and doing its task. So sometimes you just get frustrated with it in that respect. The moon physics, like I said, the jumping around, it's not very accurate, and some of the moves are very hard to pull off. Luckily, you can just keep continuing and playing and playing and playing with all the characters. And they are the really only downside, apart from the lack of characters as well. I mean, with there only being, like, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With there being only 7 playable characters and the 8th being an hidden character, there isn't a lot of variation in that respect. Can I recommend getting it though? Can I recommend to someone who's never played on Virtua Fighter to get it? If you've played on the earlier Virtua Fighters, like, well, not the earlier, the later ones that come out on like the next gen, you're going to go to this and be like, well, the current gen, you're going to be going to this and you'll be disappointed, is what you can pretty much say. You will be disappointed by it. But if you are collecting for the Saturn, it's one of those games you have to have in your collection to say, I have this game. I said, multiplayer's okay, but it don't last that long due to the amount of characters. So yeah, that was my review of Virtua Fighter. Again, it's a mixed bag, it's a bit of an title. If I was to score, I would only give it about a 6 out of 10. And that's mainly due to the revolutionary status at the time of the game. And anyway, I've been Bulletmarv. Remember, if you like my video, please comment, rate, like, share, or subscribe. And as I say at the end of every video, keep on gaming.